Can you stop what you're doing for a second? I want to show you how to do that in a different way. Oh, okay. So let's start by fixing your foot positioning. So I want your legs to be forming approximately a 90-degree angle when you're at the top of the bridge. And then you can have your toes pointed outward just slightly as well. Oh, okay. Great. And then you have the ideal bench height for your body when your knees, hips, and chest form approximately a straight line when you're at the top of the bridge. Like this? Perfect. And then in terms of spinal positioning, you want to either be in a neutral spine with ribs stacked over top of pelvis, or you can have your hips just tucked under slightly as well. What we're really trying to make sure of here is that we don't lose our core at the bottom and have our hips drop. We want to be keeping our shoulders and our hips in a line the entire range of motion, almost like we're trying to move like a teeter-totter. Got it. Is that better? So much better. And then you were trying to do a cast glute bridge, right? Yeah, because I saw on social media that it targets your glutes more than a hip thrust. Yes, it totally does, because compared to a hip thrust, which is more of a full leg movement just due to the larger range of motion, in a cast glute bridge, we're staying at that top part of a hip thrust where it's mainly just your glutes that are active. So it's more of a glute isolation movement. So to do this, we want to slowly lower our hips down, and as soon as your shins begin to rock back, that's where you're going to come right back up. So this is going to keep all the tension in your glutes, and you want to do this in a slow and controlled way to really focus on time under tension and mind-muscle connection. Oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense now. Okay, so as soon as my shins begin to rock back, I just stop and go right back up. Perfect. Now grab that barbell and put it all together. Okay. Wow, this feels so much better. I feel it like crazy in my glutes. I got you, girl. And also, if you found this helpful, you should totally look into joining my Hey Girl Challenge. It starts January 8th. It comes with a workout program and so much education around form and proper nutrition to have you well on your way towards your goals. Oh my gosh, definitely count me in. This is exactly what I've been needing. Yay, I'll see you in there, girl.
What a beautiful sight. You have to stop overcomplicating your glute workouts, okay? No more 6, 7, 8 exercise workouts. I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do. 4 exercises, 60 minutes. Let's get after it and grow those glutes. We are starting with hip thrusts, the bane of my existence. We're gonna do 3 sets here, pushing ourselves to failure, close to failure each and every set. Even though we hate hip thrusts, we do not skip them in this household because we want to grow those glutes. Literally nothing sounds worse than doing this right now. You're pushing through. Pulling the way down. Thrust forward, pause at the top because you hate yourself. 3. That was just as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe even worse. Okay, for our second exercise today, we're going to be doing some RDLs. RDLs will work our glutes on the lengthened position, so the bottom of the movement is where it's going to be most challenging. 3. The trick for this exercise is to kind of think of it like a standing hip thrust. You want to push your hips back to initiate your movement, and then once you're at the bottom, thrust forward to bring the weight back up. 3. If you enjoy hitting legs, I need you to tell me how, because this is literal torture. Oh, okay. That was disgusting. Okay, for our third exercise, we're going to do a unilateral or single leg movement. This will help us correct any muscle imbalances we have on each side and help with equal muscle growth. Today, I'm doing a Bulgarian split squat on the Swift machine because clearly I hate myself. Bulgarians are inevitably going to work both the quads and the glutes. So there are a couple of ways that we can modify this to make this a bit more glute focused. For one, we're going to put our foot forward to create a wider stance, move forward as well to increase the amount of stretch we're getting in the glutes. And then when we go down into the movement, we don't want our knee to travel too far past the ankle. That's what's going to give us more quad focus. 1. Ow. I still have to do the other leg. Yeah, get me out of here right now. For our fourth and final exercise, we're going to do an isolation exercise that targets just one muscle group. This is the glute medius kickback for the glute medius muscle that sits on the top sides of our glutes. And our focus here is going to be going slow and steady, emphasizing the entire portion of the rep with a pause at the top where the movement's more difficult. Take a step back from the cable, slight outward turn to our leg, and kick back. Want to make sure we're keeping the rest of our body still so we're not using momentum to swing through the movement. We really want to isolate that glute medius muscle. I'm so glad that's over.
Okay, gals, so you already know for the best glute gains, this is where it's at, and I'm gonna be taking you out through my whole glute workout. Start off with cast glute bridges or hip thrusts because we wanna prioritize the most important exercise, of course. Next, we're gonna move on to my favorite RDL variation on the belt squat machine. You really wanna emphasize pushing your hips back and thinking about driving those hips forward. Muscle-mind connection is the most important throughout all these exercises. Then we're moving on to my favorite unilateral exercise for the glute growth. I know that these are killer, but you gotta lean forward a bit and drive through the heel for the connection. Fourth, we're moving on to single leg kettlebell RDLs. Elevating the resting leg really prioritizes connecting to your working leg. And lastly, of course, cable kickbacks for the iso. You got this, gals.
If you grab a dumbbell like this and elevate your heels like this and squat like this, then you're gonna be targeting your quads. If you hold one dumbbell in between your legs with a wide stance and toes pointed out like this, and you hinge over at your hips and squat like this, now you'll be targeting your inner thighs and your glutes. If you grab two dumbbells and hold them at your sides like this, place your feet hip width, toes straight ahead like this, and squat just like this, you'll be hitting your glutes and your quads. Not all squats are created equal, so be sure you know what muscle you're trying to target before performing yours. And if you're a woman who's feeling lost in the gym, but you liked the simple breakdown of these exercises, follow for more.
If you're a beginner in the gym and you struggle with your RDL form, I'm gonna give you a couple of tips to help avoid back pain and maximize glute engagement. Now for our stance, we want our feet shoulder width apart with our knees bent and our toes pointed slightly outwards. A really common mistake that I see being made with this movement is having an arched lower back. Instead, we want to tuck our pelvis to brace our core and complete this movement with a neutral spine. With our knees bent, our core strong, our shoulders pulled back, and our chin slightly tucked, we can begin sending our hips backwards. Once we begin the movement, we continue bending our legs and graze our weights as close to our body as possible. Once our hips are no longer moving backwards, we come back up. When I first started doing this movement, I definitely thought that I had to go as close to the ground with my weights as possible in order to engage my glutes, so that is not the case whatsoever. As soon as our hips are no longer moving and it's simply just our upper body dropping down, we've gone too far.
All right, hey baby. I want you guys to feel sexy walking around with absolute tree trunks for legs, because let's not beat around the bush, it's sexy. Since our focus today is on overall leg development, we are starting with squats because in my opinion, you can't do much better than that for a compound. I'm gonna be ripping 4 working sets of 8 to 10. And each set we're gradually going up in weight. God, I look fucking adorable. Okay, sugar, time to cuss my name out because we're doing Bulgarians. I personally love doing these on the Smith machine because it provides so much stability, which allows you to load it a lot more than you would with, say, a dumbbell or a regular barbell. And it hurts like a bitch. Going to be doing 3 sets, 8 to 10. Fun. Fucking right. Motherfucker. Moving on to RDLs. I personally love using trap bar for RDLs. I'm gonna add a plate or 2 under my feet just because I want these a little bit more hamstring focus. And putting plates under our feet increases our range of motion, which basically just means we're going to be getting a bigger stretch. Do you have to add plates under your feet? Absolutely not. Free will, baby. But just think whether or not you can sleep at night knowing you're a pussy. 4 sets, 6 to 8. Per bitch. Close call there, mate. Being single's great and all until it comes down to unloading your fucking weights. Time to spam leg extension. Almost certain there is a name for this, but I don't have that to provide for you. So I'm gonna just talk you through this, okay? Starting off with 7 single leg. Switch legs. Immediately into 7 reps of normal extensions. and then immediately into 7 negatives. So negatives are just when you go as slow as you possibly can on the way down, fast up. If you aren't shaking, maybe you should try harder. And then repeat that 2 more times. Okay, last exercise. These are calf raises. We're doing 3 sets of AMRAP. AMRAP just means as many reps as possible. Hold at the top. And that was all she wrote. Thank you.